Post that I made last night about the child in crisis for whom there seem to be no resources.
Thank you, Tara.
Close enough.
A 12-year-old who is in crisis, who is in desperate need of having services, and we have a dad who is disabled, who's in the hospital, surgery and dialysis. The child is deceased, and we have a situation of where this child has been beyond control, and we've attempted to get services through CPS, through the police hospital, through other hospitals in the area, and there just aren't any resources. He keeps being released, and we've just had a failure of services to help a child who needs mental health evaluation, mental health treatment, and trauma-based treatment services.
How old is this child?
12.
And how big is this child?
I like that.
It's a nice size. Size of a young man, young adult.
So Grandmaster Romeo, if you will, as this child's father, describe to us the process that you have been through in trying to get your son help. And this is from two men who help thousands of kids get off the streets and into martial arts programs. Why is your son not able to be helped?
I don't know. There's no resources. There's no preventive action for the kids. I go back to school. I'm active in school. I'm active with all this activity. And when he acts up, he sends him right back to the school. Find the danger. And they can't really get him under control. They keep sending him back. And not knowing what the problem is, they won't have
Put your hand around that. Just shield it as much as you can. There's so much wind. Shield the whole mic. Yep. Shield it as much as you can. There's so much wind. Shield the whole mic.
Really needs trauma-based services to get through what is going on. And Dad just now, with his own health issues, needs help. But we don't have any services in Louisville that are able to help him. The hospital has turned him away. He does not qualify for their services. We no longer have profile intensive treatment. And there are no beds available across Kentucky that can help a kid at his age with his particular issues at this time. And so the child now CPS, we have requested a dependency action through CPS for the cabinet to come in and help us to get him into qualified treatment programs that are federally funded. The cabinet hasn't done that, and then last night when the hospital released him and Dad was unable to pick him up, the hospital has neglected the child that he's been working for months through DJJ with Beyond Control team with detention, trying every resource imaginable. Actually, Dad and I have even called treatment programs in 6 different states in the nation to get him in a program, but he can't qualify for crossing state lines because he's on passport, Medicaid, Kentucky, and out of state will not be able to accept the out of state Medicaid. So we have an epidemic of proportion to assist kids in our community, and we all need help. We need discussion to find out why we can't help kids. One of the things that has occurred that is a great new law, which is Family First Prevention Services Act, which is meant to bring preventative services to kids at a younger age. But what has happened with that act is the federal funds have been diverted from residential treatment programs for kids who are already over the cliff and falling down the waterfall in trauma and needing therapy, and those funds are going to prevention for the beginning of families that are at the trauma. And so now we need help for this child and others in this community that have fallen off the cliff and need inpatient treatment.
Okay, drop the mic. We're just going ambient. Grandmaster Romeo, I want you to tell us all the steps that you have tried to take from beginning to end to help your son.
Well, first of all, I work with him daily with the programs within the community and trying to get him ready for school. But he goes to school and acts school. We work with the school. They try to work with him as much as they could. Then they put him into the alternative school. So we got him to the alternative school, and they work with him, and they try to be lenient with him. But he loves the streets. I mean, this is where he wants to be. So I went to juvenile services. I went to CPS. I went to the courts. Nobody had nothing. They have no resources whatsoever. And now they say I'm neglectful. And it's the city that's being neglectful because they don't have nothing for these kids.
Grandmaster Khalid, you wanted to jump in here.
Yes, ma'am. They've issued a warrant for my brother's arrest saying that he's neglected his child. But I want to come away from this, where we are. Let's go back, okay? We have a program that deals with 45 to 65 kids, okay? Martial arts is more than just kick and punch. It's about learning the totality of the self. There are no programs out here that does that. Everybody picks and chooses what they want. But the only help for the kids right now is when they're criminalized, and either or they're classified as sexual predators or of that nature. Our stand is that there should be help for them before they get there. These parents fall through my door. They're calling on the phone all hours of the night because they can't control their children. But the problem is, the children know that you can't scream at me, you can't holler at me, you can't put me on punishment, you can't take things from me. And the parents try to put them out. You can't stand here with that. But then they're hit with neglect. So the child stays in the house with no control. The child stays in the house with no authority figure, and they get to do what they want to do because they had the protection of the police. When is the protection of the parents going to come in? And right now, my brother has done everything. We've talked to everybody trying to get some help for a child that we know his spirit, his nature, and we love him. But the system doesn't know him. They don't love him. They don't know him to love him. And they have no connection except for the financial part of it. They say that we can't discipline them. We can't stay on top of them. But they'll lock us up because he don't go to school. We send him out for school every day. Now, all the kids aren't bad. They just have adopted some negative habits. Our kids are trying to live adult lifestyles, and their children, their mentality is not together. We want to have a finished product as adults, as parents, before we send our kids outside of the house.
Talk to us about the meeting last night where every black person in the entire room was screaming for children's and parents' resources.
Exactly. And that's what it was. Last night we was at the community conversation, the
violence prevention
program. And it really went good, but everybody had the same narrative. We need something for our kids. We need help with our children. Because the kids is at the point now where they can fight the parents and the parents can get locked up. They can disrespect them. They can disrespect the house. They can smoke in the house. And there's nothing, no recompense for it. Listen, y'all, accountability. We need to get together and put this accountability on our government, on our city. to help us help our kids or get out of it.
Yes, Claudette.
This 12-year-old, he has exhibited the behaviors of where he is crying out for help. He has threatened his dad, who's on dialysis, who's had open heart surgery. He threatened to shove him down the stairs. He's threatened physical aggression. He's threatened to kill his dad. He has threatened other family members. He has physically assaulted other family members. He has been appropriate with younger family members, inappropriate with other family members. He has even displayed that he has violent aggression toward members of the community by threatening through a Chromebook that he was going to commit a horrific act at the YMCA.
Which is where Safe Place is.
And Safe Place will not allow this child to come into their facility, which is one of the resources, but this resource, we don't have the next resource because this child can't go to Safe Place. So we have a child and parents who have cried out, and family members who have cried out for help with nobody that has a solution, with resources to help a child and parents who are desperate for help before and preventing a horrific act from a child who's crying for help, but who is being groomed by those that are in the streets, and he is becoming accustomed to living on a street lifestyle.
Miss Rhonda.
What we see with this family is they are a cracked family. When I say cracked family, they have fallen through the cracks. We have too many families that are in this position, and the system and structure is flawed and broken, and they will not address the needs. They allocate money to too many places where it's needed with intervention, prevention, and helping families with resources and maximizing the need where it should be. Therefore, you have these young people who have gotten drawn to the streets with a subculture that they are raising themselves. But this family has done everything right, and yet they cannot get any help. They have saved thousands of children and families and work with them daily, yet they cannot get any help. We have a father who's on dialysis and heart, and they are threatening to arrest him. Not on our watch. They are not going to put any handcuffs on him. Do your job, Metro government. Do your job with the courts. They can't even get a court date. So this is totally wrong. And what the community needs to be in an uproar. We have had community conversations over 20 years and no accountability or no outcomes that is prudent to the needs of being met when families come before you and saying, we need help.
They're asking, what help specifically are you asking for?
I'm going to save my son. We need to get him in the program where they can work with him and get him back on track. Maybe we can have a nice high school, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade year. Because he's thrown a lot of it in the trash. But he's a good kid. He's a real good kid. But he needs some help. He needs some direction. He makes bad decisions. And like I said, we work with over 65 kids in our program. And we just don't have the resources to do it all by ourselves.
One of the biggest problems is right now the dojo has no electric because of the extraordinary cost of heating it. So we couldn't even go inside for the press conference, which is why this wind is so bad. And this is something that a lot of people in the West End deal with, is having their utilities cut off. Sir Friendly C, Ray Barker, please speak loudly because the wind is very bad, but please talk to us about your experience and your suggestions for help.
My experience is you come here that's asking our government and our political leaders and our spiritual leaders for help. It doesn't get any plainer than that. He's asking for help before any horrific act commences. And he can't get help. But instead of getting help, they're threatening to lock him up. Making these speeches about preventing violence is all it is. It's a speech. It's time for action. You cannot make speeches with one size fit all. You got to individualize your response to the need of the folks in this community. And let's show our support for this one parent, whether it be 7 counties, offering some extended counseling, whether it be the criminal justice system, and whatever sources they could bring, but he's asking for resources. And so we're here with him, supporting his efforts to save his child. So anybody that's recording this and listening to this, if you want to get involved in helping this parent to save his child, please contact us immediately.
How do we do that, Sir Friendly C?
502-356-3035. You can reach our Grandmaster Khalid,
330-303-8170. Now let me say this once again. Right now, this thing has hit home for us. We've been fighting for years to help many children.
Right.
We need everybody to step up to save all of these kids. That thing about one, if I can save one, I'm doing good. No! You start off to save everybody that we can. There's no self-to-serve if the rest of them can't go. Now we have some that has made decisions that's not going to allow them to be helped or saved. They got to go to prison for some of the things that they've done. We are all held accountable. And I tell you this, because everybody's going to jump off on the religious tip. God is often forgiving. He's most merciful, but the Creator is strict in punishment. Adam and Eve was forgiven, but they were still punished. And I'm saying, the laws of man, the laws of the Creator, we need to get it all together. Listen, y'all, once again, it's not about the party. So when we're talking, it's not Democrat, Republic, or Independent. It's about the people. When we get the people straight, we can party later. I'm saying let's come away from those screens that separate us from each other and let's unite and save our children. That is our future. So yes, we need help for my nephew. My brother needs help. My brother's dying because of the stress that's coming off of saving his child. But that's a story that goes over and over again. We see it a million times a day. A lot of people sit back behind their desks and they don't care about that. They sit back and help these 1 or 2 that they talk about, and they're comfortable with that. I can't sleep. They can't sleep. Those out here that's with their boots on the ground can't sleep because we're trying to save all our children. Your kids are ours. When are you going to let our kids be your kids?
I want you to describe just a minute, Claudette. I want you to describe very succinctly, Grandmaster Khalid, what the gangs are doing with these minors. I want to know about what they provide them and what the risk is and why they target these minors with a dead mother and a dying father to do their work.
Well, let me say this.
Loudly.
I'm going to say this. The ice cream shop that opens up offers different flavors. But if it's not tasteful, if it's not exciting, they wouldn't go and get it. They wouldn't want it. When we ask the kids, what do you want to eat? I want McDonald's, because that's the thing that's been systematically programmed. These kids, once again, are trying to live adult lives. The things that they see on these video games and the lives that they see in these movies, be it a black movie or a white movie produced. The gangs are offering love and affection until it's time to kill you. If you're getting your goat ready to feed, you have to put it out and you have to let it fast. You have to feed it some things and make it feel good and make it do better, and then they kill them. Listen, our society, our powers that be is giving us something, that little trick is to make us happy, and little programs over here and that over there, but they're not being effective in the upraising and the discipline and the as you say, the subculture. It's not there. We need somebody that's going to give us some programs, some resources, so that we can directly deal with our children. we can get them focused and on track, learn identity of self, know that they have a purpose. These gangs give them a purpose. We need to give them some instruction on some things that could be exciting in their lives, that their lives matter.
Which is why opening community centers again in all of the neighborhoods are essential.
And the vocational schools, two things is going to happen in school right now. You're either going to graduate with an academic scholarship or you're going to graduate with a sports scholarship. There's no more vocational schools that's going to give you a trade to live for those who are not academically or sports physically ready to go out and get that money. There used to be vocational schools. There used to be hair salon, cosmetology, small engine repair, carpentry. They don't have those programs or those skills here now. And our kids is trying to, they're living today like it's no tomorrow. They're not planting the seeds because they don't know how to plant the seeds. They don't know how to grow a garden. They don't know that they are a garden. They don't know that they have a purpose in life and that they're connected with the Creator or with society because we're always knocking them down. What we're dealing with right now is we're not bashing the child. We're just giving you the facts as they stand. So don't frown upon the facts. It wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here. They wouldn't be here if we had some resources for them in the beginning. Let's change it now. Let's get involved. Let's get active. We need help, but there's a lot of other parents that need help. We all need help because if you're not what they say, if you're not the predator, then you're the prey.
Thank you, Claudette.
Tara, I'll answer your question that what's happening in the community. You know, the criminal elements of the gangs and those that aren't necessarily gangs, but they are those who are crime bosses. They are recruiting our children as young as age 12, which is your son, and younger.
9, 8, 9.
And these adults and older teens are recruiting the kids, and they're telling them the way that the juvenile system is set up, you're going to be able to commit at least 3 crimes without getting in trouble. You'll get diversion, and don't worry, we will handle all of that for you. You're not going to go to jail.
You'll be home next summer.
And you'll be home, and at 18, it's all going to be expunged. But it even goes deeper than that. They're monetizing it. They're paying our 12-year-olds and our 15-year-olds and our 16-year-olds thousands of dollars to commit up to those 3 crimes, and they are providing them with the weapons, the guns, to go do the carjackings, to go do the invasions of property, home invasions, and also of businesses. Killing. And then after their 3rd one is finished, they become the recruiter for the next 12-year-old. And they're being put into that subculture that you're talking about. You know, our kids that go to high school parties, if you talk to any of our DJJ defense attorneys, you know, we ask kids, why did you show up to a party with a weapon? Everybody shows up to a party with a gun, because if you don't, everybody else there will pistol whip you with their weapon, so you have to show up to one to go to the party.
Can I ask a question? There's a pretty obvious one of these things is not like the other in this row. Why are you involved, Claudette? Why are you representing Grandmaster Romeo?
Well,
I mean, one of these things is not like the other is you're the attorney and they're not.
That is true, and I have 30 years of experience. I work in dependency, neglect, and abuse court. I have worked with at-risk youth for 3 decades. I understand how the system works. I also understand how it's monetized with the federal grant money, and right now the lack of resources. But how I got involved is because Grandmaster Romeo called me and he said, I heard you when you were running for judge talk about juvenile justice, and you're always working in our community. I have a problem, I need help. And I go, I'll be happy to help you, and I won't leave you.
How else are you connected to these two?
Because we are a martial art family. I have a black belt in Taekwondo, and so, you know, when you're in a martial art community, you're family and you take care of each other.
That's right.
But I'm also, because I'm a member of the Louisville Metro community, just what both of you said. We have to work together, arm in arm, side by side, to take care of our kids. because this is permeating not just in the West End, but throughout all of Louisville Metro, what's happening to our kids.
So I want to just recap very quickly, and I would like Grandmaster Romeo and Claudette, Pat, an attorney, to do this for us. Recap very quickly everything that you have tried to get your son help and all of the ways you've been denied.
CPS, juvenile services, Brooklawn, Safe Place. Peace took them, they let them go. They took them back, they let them go. Working with the principal, who was very helpful at Minor Dangers. The assistant principal, very helpful. 7 counties. And that's it.
And last night,
Talked to a few
Norton.
judges too.
And Norton's,
But,
right.
but we've done
But
more.
we did,
We've done more than that.
what she brought to the table was all these other states. I didn't even know we had resources out of state, but
We called every single child facility in the state of Kentucky for residential treatment. Nobody has a bed available. All right? And if there's anything that is private based, you can't access it because you don't have private insurance.
Right.
You only have the Passport Medicaid, so you can't pay for it privately. That then transferred over to every single facility that we called in 6 different states to try and get an in-person, inpatient treatment program denied because he's on Passport Medicaid and that doesn't cross state lines, and we don't have a private insurance plan that can cover the child while he goes out of state.
and
And
you
the only
did
thing-
find a place in Oklahoma, but what's the catch?
We have
had
to
to have insurance. in
private
Oklahoma.
insurance to cover him in Oklahoma. The treatment program is free. That doesn't cost, but he has to have
insurance in Oklahoma.
in case he gets sick and has to go to the doctor.
But here's the thing, I'm just asking, help me save my son. Everybody say if he was charged with something, we can immediately give him some help. Or if he was a sexual predator, we can immediately give him some help. But why wait till you get into trouble? We know what road is for that.
So we're not helping your child with behavioral and mental health and trauma issues because of the death of his mother and
Right.
with you being ill.
Exactly.
We want to criminalize him in order to get him help.
Some help.
To send him directly to a DJJ facility.
And this is
That's what
exactly
we've been told.
this is exactly what the community was crying out about last night in every breakout group about criminalizing our children and not providing resources to the parents. So people keep asking, U of L Health can't help, Brook can't help, Peace can't help. What we're trying to tell you is they've been down this road. There's an open dependency case with the state of Kentucky. There has been an effort to get a beyond control warrant, which a lot of people are talking about. Please address that.
Well, the beyond control
You
warrant
can't-
would criminalize him.
But still, it's still 6 months out.
Yes. 6-month wait.
6 months, it's 6 months out. You can't even do a beyond control warrant.
And so
You gotta
dependency.
set a meeting. You
So
have to have a
we-
meeting.
And when they alleged in the first go around that he was neglecting his child, which is clearly a dependency case because of his health issues and the death of the mom, and other family members have attempted to take care of the child, and he is threatening and aggressive behavior.
All the way around the board.
All the way around the board. We filed a dependency on the hotline for CPS, an emergency dependency request. Deceased mom, disabled dad in the hospital with open heart surgery on dialysis. Please, we're asking you to take custody so he can get into one of the treatment programs. And that has not come to fruition yet. And then what happened last night?
Yeah, let's talk about the phone conversations last night because I was on one of them and an outright lie was told.
Yeah. He's at Norton's. He was at Norton's for 4 days. They're supposed to find him a bed. So they called me last night and said, well, a lot of places won't take him. And that they couldn't find a bed for him. I had to come get him. I was telling them I couldn't come get him because at that time I was on dialysis. I do dialysis at home. So they told me I had to come get him. I'm saying there's no way I could come get him. So they asked me for the family member to come get him. I said, look, I made calls, nobody come get him. You all give me some help with him. And they said no. So they told me that there was a bed available at the Safe Place.
Which is at the YMCA.
Which is at the Y. So we called the Y. The Y said they would not accept him.
And I was on the phone call with that and I heard them
they
say
said
it.
they would not accept him. They don't have a bed
And plus, he doesn't fit that criteria because his aggressiveness.
But then what happened?
Then what happened? I'm on the phone with you, with
Right.
the hospital. They're saying he must go to Safe Place. We're telling them Safe Place won't take him. Just give us consent to send him. We give consent.
Gave him consent.
Great. Now you come pick him up and take him to Safe Place. We can't. He's on dialysis. We can't come pick him up, and Safe Place isn't going to take him. It was just the effort to get the child properly. That was it. So then I said, well, your social worker that works for the hospital, have they contacted CPS? Because this is a dependency situation. Dad cannot physically transport the child. No, our social worker hasn't been involved in that. So then the hospital ends up calling CPS, and instead of explaining us the dependency, reports Grandmaster Romeo for abandoning his child and neglect. And so CPS opened a case of neglect, even though they have a pending case of dependency simultaneously. And the social worker then repeats the narrative that we just talked about. We had a place at Safe Place. No, he didn't.
He never had a place at Safe Place.
So
They absolutely declined him because of his behavior.
yes.
Yes.
I heard it with my own ears.
Yes.
Yes.
So again, Tara, you're looking at what's happened to impacted marginalized people in our community. If he's saying the roots of the problem is poverty, mental health, education, insurance, all of those come into play. And here's a parent who did every step, every right thing towards seeking and trying to get help for his child. And again, the system and structures have failed our community. We are at a public health crisis, and no one is paying attention. All they want to do is set up and have community conversations rather than dealing with the problem and putting money where it's needed and resources to help our people.
And they sent the police out last night. They came to the house 2 times. I saw them on the ring. I wasn't there. But I saw them on the ring. They beat on the doors. They shine lights through the house. And they were coming to arrest my brother for doing everything that he was supposed to do. And I'm saying once again, that is not going to happen.
Are they going to take his dialysis machine with him?
Listen, they ain't taking no, they're not going to do none of that. But they're not going to take him. You already got the child. Ain't going to happen. You're not going to take my sick brother and put him into your hands. I don't trust none of you all. We need to take our streets back. We need to get together and take everything back.
And Tara, as of last night, I was on the phone until after 1 a.m. with the designated social worker last night. But there's been no phone call this morning to even let any of us know where they stand and the status of where the child is.
No.
That is our next phone call as soon as our press conference is over. But the cabinet has not contacted any of us, even though we've been an integral part the entire way in getting this child help.
What's the next step for the people who are engaged and watching and have heard everything that you've said? What action can people take to help the situation at hand and all the rest of the kids who are in need of help?
The city is neglectful. That's who's neglectful. Because when they took the JCYC, they didn't even put nothing else in place. There's nowhere to go. People have been saying this, these parents have been saying this time and time again. Now that I'm in the midst of it, I'm saying,
You're witnessing exactly everything that they said.
this is ridiculous. I'm saying, I need to save my son.
And we have to get the equivalent of Brooklawn. We understand why Brooklawn is closed right now after the horrible event that happened.
Which was?
Which was a 7-year-old was unfortunately killed by a staff member in a restraint hold. And as a result, Brookline can only do day services, so there are no treatment beds in Louisville available for our kids. So we have to get to that next step and get an emergency situation of where we have beds available so that we can serve kids that have these mental health, trauma-based issues.
And the schools can't do it.
Schools can't
I
do
talk to the vice principal, I talk to the teachers, I talk to the principal on a daily basis. They take these kids and they throw them right back to the school. They can't even teach the classes because of the kids. So we got to
a child is picked up by beyond control or for committing a crime, and Louisville Metro calls the court designated worker, the CDW says return to parent.
Okay, I'm going to give HAS and WAVE a chance to ask any questions that they want to ask. Guys?
I'd like to interview separately if that's okay.
That'd be fine. Same?
I'm good.
Okay, any last thoughts?
Help me save my son. He shouldn't have to go to penitentiary. We know what road he's going down. I want to save my son.
Nothing is going to change. Nothing is going to change to the people that control the knob, the change the narrative, until they step in and commit themselves. A lot of people sit back and do nothing and think that they don't have a fist in a fight. But not doing something when you know that you can do something is very dangerous. And you all are committing a crime, a moral crime, a spiritual crime, a crime against society, a crime against this community and its members that voted you into office and the ones that you say you love. I'm telling you, man, you all could change this by just opening up some doors and making some things happen. The parents are not qualified to handle the level of uncontrolled children that you all think that we can. It's hard doing what we do, but when you take all of that all that control out of our hands, we can't discipline them, but you can kill them.
And you know, Tara, we've said a lot about things that aren't working. You know, we have some really great dedicated social workers.
Huge number.
In the cabinet.
And they were reaching out to me all night.
Okay, so from my perspective, this is not necessarily a total negative across the board of our child protective service workers. But what has happened is, population-wise, we are supposed to have a minimum of 60 to 90 workers, social workers.
Right.
We're under 20 that are trying
There you
to
go.
serve this community. We need somebody immediately getting on board with getting us qualified social workers back into Jefferson County that are helping to service family and children. And that has to come from higher up.
Right. And also, we need them to untie their hands. Everybody says, but there's nothing else I can do. There's nothing else for you. We don't have anything else in place. The law says this. The law says that. All of that need to be, we need to reapproach it, readdress it, and redesign it so that it does work. We need help. And we're asking for help, not just for us, but for you.
Thank you, Grandmaster. Thank you, Miss Rhonda. Thank you, Claudette. Thank you, Grandmaster Romeo. Thank you, Ray Barker. We appreciate all of you. Amplify this message. Share the live, share the live, share the live. And the television stations are going to do some separate interviews, so you will see this on WAVE and on WHAS tonight. We thank you all for your help.
Thank you. Peace and blessings.